Good morning and welcome to the Business Spotlight series. Brian Glover and I have been at it early this morning. He's been at it since dark 30. I am an accountability coach, and Brian is the founder of a new platform called Previewed, which is helping job applicants get a much better idea of this crazy black hole job listing that they're seeing. And is this going to be a good fit for me? And I can't wait to talk with him today about that idea and how that company was born and how it's doing and his journey as an entrepreneur. But first, we've got, the housekeeping that we go over. I need you to like that button. I need you to hit that subscribe button, and I'm going to need you to share this with all of your friends so that Brian can get more people involved with understanding what this job looks like in their job hunt. So, Brian, welcome.
Hey, welcome. I appreciate it, Karen. Amazing intro. And like I said, it's truly an opportunity today. So I'm happy that you guys were able to have me on.
Hey, listen, our pleasure. So, tell us what is Previewed all about?
All right. So just in one sentence, connecting people to their aspirations seamlessly. Pretty much what Preview is a immersive gamified career platform powered by AI for seamless career discovery and upskilling to provide a frictionless hiring experience. So pretty much like this, in layman's terms, we give job seekers the GPS to first assess where they are, then determine where they want to go, and then last but not least, the step by step on how to get there. And then on the flip side of our marketplace, we help employers with sourcing, assessing, hiring, retaining, and developing great quality talent all on one application, creating a true career life cycle application.
Wow, that is huge and ambitious and beautiful. And I love that you are leveraging all the latest technology to be able to that's a huge mission, right? And I love this idea. Tell me how you came up with this idea. I mean, it's just such, it's one of those elegantly simple duh ideas. Well, we're like, it's so brilliant because it's so simple and no one's figured out how to solve it yet. So, what's the origin story here? How did this happen?
So let's be honest, everyone has been there, and I'm no different from any of my job seekers prior to. I've been in organizations where there wasn't a true culture fit. You get there based off a job description, it's not what you were expecting, to whereas now
Yeah.
you're looking for a change and pivot. Pretty much, I seen my wife go through the same thing while she was looking to transition from, the banking world into cybersecurity and defense, and pretty much seeing what that whole struggle is to really see where culture as well as values truly align amongst job seekers and their employers. So pretty much seeing her go from Indeed to YouTube to TikTok, and then at the same time speaking with so many different job seekers that I know personally, it's just like it's a hassle. To whereas people are just passively applying to jobs and they're not really informed before making a decision because depending upon what employer you go with, that can have major implications on your trajectory in your career as well as in your life. So I felt like it was needed and no one was doing it. So we decided to go ahead and, branch out and try something different to change this whole traditional norms of hiring. And, Preview was born. Pretty much, I put together an amazing team and we've been at it now, for a year. So it's been an amazing journey thus far.
That's amazing. So tell me, you're a year in. This is a fascinating point for you, right? I always think of the
Yes.
first year as like stepping on all the landmines. It's complete chaos because you're inventing everything every single time, right?
Yes,
So
that was well said.
yeah, I've been there. I may have done that a time or two. So tell me how the first year has been and kind of like where you are in the life cycle of your product development and your consumer experience and all that kind of good stuff.
Well, I can honestly say the first year has been a true journey. It's been a journey that has tested me in all nature, good or bad. Pretty much just to start out, it was me and two others. We
Yep.
initially started to build out the very first iteration of Preview. It was like putting a plane together in the air. It crashed and burned. So I'm pretty much, I say August of last year, I was pretty much in the process of picking up all the ashes and trying to reconfigure what preview would be. So I finally built out a beta version of previewed, threw it out there to the market, got some early feedback, and then realized that if I'm going to take this far, I needed to put together a solid team. So I
Mhm.
decided to go ahead. I found my co-founder, Minnie, who's amazing. She was the executive director of engineering over at LinkedIn. Me and her pretty much hit it off when we first, started, co-founder speed dating. We figured out exactly where we were. So we figured out that we were definitely a match, and we built out an additional, team that could help us go there, along with some strong advisors. So over this past 7 months now, since I've put together this team, we pretty much have been beta testing the AI model within our platform, in which we've been able to help out a few of our beta testing clients. One employer, we were actually able to go ahead and cut their time to hire from 45 days down to 48 hours. At that point, it was like a eureka moment. It's like we have something. So now we need to dive in and double down. So thus far, we've been running paid pilots with certain employers, mainly within like manufacturing, the trades, healthcare, as well as like veterinarian services, because those are some of the hardest impacted areas of the
Mhm.
workforce. So right now, at the current point in time, we're actually gearing up for launch. So we're ready to release it to the public, get a true, reception of and feedback on what we're bringing, and that should be ready by mid-July. So that's where we're at currently.
Oh,
So right now, as you heard in the beginning, guys, I have been up since 0:30, pretty much early this morning, and it's been a true rush because there's so many things that need to be done,
yeah.
and we have to continue to move forward with momentum. So yeah, that's where we're at right now, this moment, early in the grind.
You know what, Brian? Like you are at such an exciting point because it's one thing to get it out in beta testing, right? Because they're kind of friendlies, right? In most
Yes.
cases have a relationship with your beta testers and they're giving you good constructive feedback. Um, but you're going to put your baby out into the wild in just a couple of weeks, it sounds like. So how are you feeling about your launch?
Um, excited, but at the same time nervous because it's like like you said, it's your baby, and me just being a father, you're very protective of your children and the
Yes.
things that you cultivate. So when you put them out into the world, you're very, excited because you know what you have invested into it, but at the same
Yeah.
time, you're kind of scared because you don't know what the world may pick apart from it. So yeah, that's I'm in that weird, awkward phase of a ball of excitement, but at the same time a ball of nervousness. So I'm just trying to figure out a way to balance it out until we get to launch.
Well, congratulations on getting there. I mean, that is huge, and especially rising like the phoenix from the ashes, right?
Yes.
So, what would you say? What's your role in the company? It sounds like you've got some co-founders, you've got a team. So, what's your role? How are you spending your time on the business now?
Oh man, I have, like I tell everyone, I'm a hat rack at this moment in time. One day I may be sitting down with my product team and we're refining and trying to make sure that the user experience is good. The next moment in that same day, I may jump on a client call to, pitch and, pretty much still the vision of what we're doing here at Preview, and then go from a client call to a VC investor call. It's pretty much all over the place in these last coming days prior to launch. But right now, I would say my main position is visionary and motivator of my team to keep everyone pushing forward and trucking along because it's been a long journey. I have a
Yeah.
solid team and we're all working pro bono at this moment in time. So
Ooh,
for us to
scary.
yeah, it's scary times, but at the same time, exciting times. I'm guessing this is how Mark Zuckerberg felt in the early days of Facebook. So I'm pretty much in that moment right there, just manning the ship as captain at this moment in time.
Absolutely, absolutely. So as you're thinking about your launch, what are you doing to let people know? Like, one of the things I talk about with our clients a lot is how do I get to the right people, right? And you're about to launch something that's entirely new and entirely, I mean, a very disruptive way of hiring and upskilling people. So how much time are you spending on marketing, and what are some of the strategies that you're employing as part of your launch?
So far as marketing goes, we've really been taking more so a organic and traditional approach. When I say traditional approach, it's mainly about talking to people. The more people I can talk to, the paint this vision up preview, actually show them some results that we have been able to provide. That's been the primary go-to. But at the same time, we have just turned on our marketing engine. So we right now, I believe we're exceeding industry norms. We have like a 40% open rate with a 39% click-through rate. So right
Wow.
now we're seeing a lot of interest because it is drastically different from what everyone else is offering. And I'm feeling right now where we're currently at. We're actually going to be able to take advantage of most of the tailwind that's coming from this current election, as well as with workforce development and manufacturing and things being brought back on shore being the big push and initiative, to whereas everyone's looking for that thing that's going to connect with millennials and Gen Z. So with that being said, we've been just flooding with email campaigns, speaking with as many people as possible, making connections with like economic development organizations around the country, as well as even speaking with politicians, because our whole goal is if we have as many early advocates of preview pushing our word organically, we will drive more traffic to what we're doing, to whereas we get more eyes on this whole new process that we're providing. So it's been more so an organic, traditional approach. If I can't talk to you, we're shooting you an email, or we're flooding you with a video, or constant post on LinkedIn. So a little bit of everything.
That is awesome. So I want to, I don't typically get to talk to startup founders. So do you mind if I ask you a question about how you're working with investors?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Because, it seems like a big mystery to a lot of people, right? And pitching investors is hard. I've been there. I've been on both sides of the table. Um, it's also hard, by the way, as an investor, to really weed out and really do the deep due diligence. So what are some of the things that have been successful for you in working with venture capitalists, and maybe not? Like, what have you learned through the whole, I'm going to go out and look for investors process,
One thing that I know from I've spoken with thus far this year, 473 investors, whether VC
Wow.
firms, angels, private investors, equity firms, you name it, I've spoken with them. And I can honestly say every last one of them are different. They all want different things. They all have different views. And
Yeah.
you should just continue to chart your course. If you see what the vision is, you have to paint that vision, but then at the same time deliver on the things that you're saying that you're going to do. And I feel like right now, outside of that, it's just building relationship with those investors that get it, but you may be, say, a tad bit early. You may not have all the criteria needed at this exact moment. Continue to build that strong relationship with them, because at the same time, they're going to give you, advice and possibly help you avoid some of those landmines that you spoke of earlier. And I feel like that's probably the most beneficial outside of it taking up a ton of time and it being like a full-time job in itself. It's really something enjoyable because you're able to talk with large firms all the way down to one-man shops, and you get a whole different view and perspective from each, side of it. So I can honestly say it's been a journey. We just started fundraising this year, and I've been told by the one thing that has been common, this is the
Yeah.
hardest cycle to invest in. It's since like '08, '07.
Yeah.
So I've been pretty much everyone's telling me like keep going hard, keep going strong, and keep on delivering. And seeing that now we're starting to hit a few of those milestones, we're seeing more investors interested. To whereas we have a few soft commits that are lingering right now to close out in August, and we're just waiting for a solid lead to come in that shares our vision. Because, like I tell all founders, when you're fundraising, you will come across some people that are just willing to cut a check, but they don't buy into the vision. You need to know exactly what you're looking for out of an investor outside of the money. What else can they do for you? What doors can they possibly open? Who can they get you in front of possibly? And do they honestly see you and your vision as being that lightning in the bottle type of opportunity. So, and just aligning with that. So that's what I've been taking from this whole investor journey, trying to raise capital right now while fundraising.
Right. And that's good stuff right there. Listen, everybody, like play that section again. Okay. Just like maybe we'll edit that and just make it its own section. Like that is some amazing learning about working with investors, right? And you're right, it's a tough cycle right now. There's just a lot of uncertainty, obviously, with the election, and who knows about interest rates. Just it's complicated. It's complicated. Well, speaking of journeys, how did you decide to become an entrepreneur? Have you always been an entrepreneur? What's been your path, Brian?
I can honestly say I was definitely blessed to be born into the family that I was born into. Everyone from aunts, uncles, even my father, grandmother, they all have ventured into entrepreneurship. With that being said, my uncle ran a very successful construction company in Washington, D.C. My father ran a very successful landscaping and animal trapping business. So I've been around entrepreneurs my whole life, to whereas it was encoded in my DNA. So starting out as a young kid, I would go out. My father would take me to like Costco's or BJ's. We'd buy boxes of candy, and I'd be that one kid in school selling candy for $1. And I know with inflation now, that's unheard of. That's a steal now. But pretty much, I started out selling candy. From candy, it evolved as I got older. Started doing newspapers. I had my own newspaper route. Took the money from there. Got me a lawnmower. I didn't want to actually work for dad, so I wanted to go out and be my own boss. So got me a lawnmower, got me a little book of business, and pretty much did that for most of my teenage years. Outside of all the little side hustles, whether it be, making mixtapes and CDs and things of that nature for my classmates, to then becoming an adult and then trying multiple startups. So my very first startup was the Goddess application. It was supposed to be, this was before AR was a thing back in like 2015. It was just starting to come about. I wanted to make a beauty application, and that's what gave me the first taste of this whole startup tech industry, and really seeing how this world works. And to whereas it sparked a light bulb. I wasn't able to get that successfully off the ground. You try and fail, but you learn from those steps, and pretty much it just
Yeah.
built into me. And then at the same time, I'm the type that I have worked in corporate America, but you see certain things and you want to call certain shots. And in order to call those shots, you need to create something for yourself. And it's just been that way for me. I started, a consulting business that then pivoted into preview, because I was dealing with the same issue, but wasn't able to find a solution. So, like every good successful entrepreneur, when you are faced with a constant problem, you will get creative and come up with a solution. So that's how I came up with preview.
I love it. And the research says that actually, as an entrepreneur, your first venture is absolutely, like more likely to fail, but your second venture, your chances of success go way up, right?
Yes,
So
just from the
because you,
learning.
yes, totally, totally. All right, so listen, I want to just change the energy here for a minute, and I'm going to ask you what we call some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So these are going to be short questions with short answers. All right, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Brian, what is the key to success for you?
Persistence.
Love that. Absolutely, 100%. What is your best piece of advice for other business owners?
Maintain your vision. Vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to others, and it's also a streak of genius. So if you can see it, don't allow others to damper that down. Continue to push forward.
Silence the haters. Are you a book or a podcast guy?
Both.
Okay, so what's maybe like a recent book or a book you've read that sort of changed your trajectory, or a podcast that you listen to that you want other people to know about?
From Actions to Values by J.B. Jensen. It's a leadership book. It's pretty much trying to put the actions in place to develop the values as a leader to whereas it's then bled off into my organization to whereas I develop the culture that I'm speaking about and trying to share with the world. So before you can, preach this to other employers, you have to first cultivate it internally and then spread it to your team to whereas you're a living example of it. So outside of that, most recent podcast, it'd probably be like this past Monday's episode of Earn Your Leisure, Market Mondays. I like to stay in tune with what's going on in the financial world, the world in itself, just from the perspective of, men of color. So that was my most recent podcast there.
Perfect, perfect. And last question of the day, what is most inspiring to you right now?
Building a legacy, um, building
Mm,
some, building something that will be here long when I'm gone. So this is a quote that I recently heard that really hit strong to me is that I'm planting seeds for trees that I will never be able to enjoy the shade of. And
yes,
it instilled something in me because when I say I want to build legacy and build a family of generational wealth, you have to realize the actions that you take today, you won't necessarily see the results, but keep pushing because it will live on long after you're gone. So, yeah.
I love that. Brian, I could talk to you forever, but that's all my questions today. And listen, I just want to tell you guys who've been part of this conversation today, this guy gets it. I want you to rewatch this whole episode and take notes if you didn't take notes, because this guy is a true entrepreneur, right? He's got this vision, he's got the persistence. He has visited with 473 investors. Like, if that is not a testament to, turning your values into actions, like, just think about that. So, Brian, thank you so much for being with us today.
No, I appreciate you having me again, Karen. And thank you again for the opportunity. And like I said, if anyone would like to personally connect with me, please connect with me on LinkedIn. Or if you want to really see what Preview's about, join our wait list at www.previewed.careers and join that wait list. And you will be added to our newsletter and get first notification when we're ready to go live for you to create an account.
I love it. I love it. All right, guys, www.previewed.careers. All right, Brian, and you will be back next time with some amazing advice from some other business owners and founders. Thanks so much.